Hi everyone. It's been over a year since I did a video like this, but it's come to my attention that it's something that needs to be done. You can think of this as a follow-up to my Roblox developer and my Roblox Thesis videos, but this is by all means final and I have no plans to ever make a video on this matter again. What I covered in those two videos will be brought up from time to time in this video, so feel free to watch those if you want full context. So, let's start with some introductory statements. First of all, why am I making this video? Well, it's quite simple really. Not too long ago, as in less than a month ago, I woke up and I opened Roblox to this message on my screen. Account terminated, for reason of promoting inappropriate behavior or content. I really couldn't believe what I was seeing. In fact, at first glance I thought it just had to be a temporary suspension. Wrong! My account was gone for good, with no warning whatsoever. I genuinely had no idea what I'd done wrong, as I make it a point to not even chat in Roblox games to avoid things like this. I sent in an appeal, which was quickly rejected, and subsequently the reason for my punishment was revealed to me. It was, drumroll please, the game I made when I was 14 years old, Make a Child and Sell It, which was renamed to Make a Clone and Sell It after a warning at the time. By the way, for anyone who's wondering, I'm 20 years old right now. That game has been up for 6 years, and since that first warning, there had seemingly been no issue with having it up. I talked about this game in my Roblox developer video, and it had amassed over 1.5 million visits. No idea how, but there was unfortunately a clear fan base, which was evident after I made a Roblox group for my Roblox games. Before my account got deleted, it had about 70 members, and I decided to oblige one member in asking for a ceiling update for the game. That was planned to be the very last update, and I even thought about taking the game down in a month or two. You see, I had originally made that game in hopes of being noticed by a Roblox YouTuber named Kaneko Kitten. That actually happened, and so, looking back and knowing the kind of person he was after everything that's come out about him, I felt extremely uncomfortable about leaving the game up. But I didn't want to just leave the fans of the game in dust. So I left it up and I was planning on taking it down around the end of 2024. Unfortunately, I never got that opportunity. I don't want to spend too much time talking about my account deletion right now, but with 14 years of history on the platform, I had assumed that I'd at the very least get a warning or temp ban before my account was sentenced to imminent doom. As surprising as it was, it didn't take too long for me to get over it. In fact, I originally wasn't even going to make this video. I just took it as a reason to finally put an end to my time on Roblox, as they were no longer a company I wanted to support. But while rewatching the Roblox Developer Struggles video I made, I thought making this video would be a good conclusion to the saga. Speaking of which, in the video I mentioned that Roblox only cares about developers who make them money, and I barely monetized my game at all. There was a game pass for an in-game radio, but that was it. My game had been coming to a slow burn at the time as well, so it makes you wonder if Roblox decided to sever ties with me just because I wasn't making them money. It's sort of a conspiracy, but I have a hard time not believing it. I mean, why would they wait for 6 years to take action? They knew the game existed, evident by the warning I got way back around the game's creation. Also, my account has a slight weird history of getting moderated for the strangest things, but I'll talk about that later. Anyways, I just wanted to give some background info on why I'm making this video before I get into the real content. And as I go over every couple of years on Roblox, I'll mention popular games, significant changes, and what I remember the platform being like in those years. We start with where my time on Roblox began. In late 2010, when I saw an ad for it while playing Bloons Tower Defense 4. At the time I was 6 years old, and to me, a platform like Roblox was a dream come true. I had played games like Toontown and Club Penguin back then, but despite being MMOs, they weren't player created like Roblox games were. That aspect was original to Roblox, and was what made it so unique when I found it. The website at that point was bursting with the charm of early internet websites. At the time it was marketed as an online social hangout, and very much treated like one. The pull then was less from the games and more from the community, as the games at the time were quite bare bones when compared to later years. Being so long ago, I don't remember every little detail of gameplay, or what games I played then. I remember a few games though, some of which are still around and quite popular, like Work at a Pizza Place or Natural Disaster Survival. A similar game, called Survive the Disasters, was a game I frequented as a kid. Some others I remember that popped up around 2010 and managed to stick around were Flood Escape and Stop It Slender. Neither are hugely popular now, but still have retained some players, and I still enjoyed playing them for many years. Back then, I played Roblox with my older brother often, until he effectively quit Roblox a couple years later. We played more obscure games like Pirates vs. Royal Navy and a couple of space fighting games that I can't remember the names of. It was a simpler time, but a fun one. Eventually, sometime during 2011 to 2013, I took a year-long break because of the rise in popularity of Minecraft. I don't remember which year specifically it was, though. Also during this time, I began to play those role-playing games like Roblox High School. It was pretty fun before online dating started to fill the roleplay scene. I also started playing what would be one of my favorite Roblox games for a while, Innovation Labs. It was a roleplay game as well in a way, but with interactivity and a core to monitor. Typically, players would fight over whether or not to keep the laboratory core stable or let it explode, and the two sides were full of playful hostility. That was possible because of the general positivity of the community back then. If such a thing were attempted nowadays, this hostility would be completely genuine. Yes, there was the occasional rage-filled player, but they were looked down upon at the time, not a major part of the community at all. Gameplay at the time was slowly getting better due to Roblox adding DevX at the end of 2013, and more players were joining Roblox. The future was looking bright. Then came 2014 to 2015, which in my opinion was the first and last golden era of Roblox. The previous eras were good in their own right, but weren't as well rounded as this era was. During this time we had games released like Speedrun 4, Prison Life, The Mad Murderer, The Normal Elevator. Personally, I remember coming home from school and getting straight to playing one of those 4. There were others too, but those I remember the most fondly. Later popular games such as Phantom Forces, Murder Mystery 2, and Arsenal came out at this time as well, but I didn't play those until later when they were more polished. So many gems came out at this time I can't recall every one of them, but it was in my opinion the best time to be a Roblox player. Game quality was clearly ramping up, the platform's popularity was growing, and it seemed like everything was looking good for the future of Roblox. It was really a time that was unparalleled by any other era of Roblox. The community was still generally friendly, Roblox staff still seemed to care about the player base, tics were still around, the forum still existed. This era truly had the best of all worlds. It seemed as though there would be no reason for things to change, but as we all know, life never runs a predictable course. In 2016 came the first big change, carving out an uncertain future. That would be the removal of tics. This is personally where I mark the beginning of the decline of the platform's friendly attitude towards users. If you want to know more of my feelings about the whole situation, you can watch my Roblox Thesis. As cringy as it is, it was genuinely my true feelings of the state of things following the removal of tics. Anyways, that year didn't have much going for it, but it was the one where Roblox started to get mainstream levels of popularity on YouTube. Of course, more people did not mean a better community. It was quite the opposite, in fact. It was this massive influx of players that had begun to arrive that set the community on the path to its current general hostility. On a more positive note, or not depending on how you view this game, Meep City came out at this time, which also helped propel Roblox's already growing popularity. It was one of those games that had really good release timing and thus attracted a large player base. It took aspects of MMOs I mentioned previously, Club Penguin and Toontown, and merged them to create the 2016 staple for Roblox Hangout games. Truth be told, I did not really care for this game at all, as I had kind of grown out of the genre by this point, but I can see why people would have. Another game that stayed at the top charts for quite some time came out this year, called Assassin. It stood out for a time, as a contrast to the other games like Murder Mystery 2. By the end of 2016, this year had set up the rulebook for the coming years to follow, and as such, community-oriented aspects of Roblox started to go downhill. 2017 to 2018. The years when Roblox began to truly take off, and the years when Roblox officially turned their backs on their old ways. During this era, you had games that would attain levels of popularity Roblox had never experienced before, games like Jailbreak and Adopt Me. While I never particularly cared for either of those games, Jailbreak was fine, just not my type of game, there were also games I really enjoyed that made their debut around this time. Flee the Facility is a good example, although its current state is laughable. Super Nostalgia Zone was pretty awesome. Tower of Hell became an instant classic. Cat, also known as the Knife Ability Test, was a fun game for its time. Despite all the popularity Roblox was garnering during this time, they were also slowly revealing their true intentions as a corporation. Their sudden logo change at the time gave a few hints as to what was coming, but I would have never expected the things Roblox would do later. I do want to touch on that logo change for a moment. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, with all malicious intents and purposes, I despise Roblox for doing that. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? Their old logo may have been childish, but it was charming and original. and children were their target audience. What idiot at Roblox thought it would be a good idea to turn their recognizable logo into corporate slop I could have made in 5 seconds in MS Paint? And who agreed with them? I get thinking, yeah, we need to rebrand now that we're getting a bigger audience, but this was the worst possible outcome. Alright, outburst over. Anyways, with that out of the way, it was also during this time that Roblox was able to amass much more user registration due to their sudden removal of guests, meaning making an account was now required in order to play any game on Roblox. I can understand why they do this, but that, combined with the logo change, the deletion of forums, the removal of sorting by genre, and the removal of ticks made me realize it wouldn't be long before the game I once knew was going to be unrecognizable. 2018 was also the year I began watching Kaneko Kitten, which may have been my life's greatest mistake. I also released my Roblox Thesis that year, which says a lot about the state of Roblox as a platform at the time. I was 14 and yet noticing the malicious business practice Roblox was beginning to pull. Of course, being 14, I also made a lot of mistakes in that video, and my predictions weren't exactly correct. Still, it kept me prepared for what I'd soon see in the years to come. Then there was 2019 through 2020. These years were big for me on Roblox, and for Roblox itself. As for Roblox, this was when they decided to discontinue egg hunts, which I still don't understand. It was like the final nail in the coffin for everything that made classic Roblox endearing. This change cemented the fact that there was really nothing left of the OG Roblox charm. In addition to that, they opted for a corporate monotone black to replace their vibrant red logo color. I guess they really wanted to seem like a mature and powerful corporation, rather than a kids gaming platform. Still, unless they discard the name Roblox, we all know that's never gonna happen. No one, not ever, is gonna hear the name Roblox and think, yeah, that sounds like a place for mature adults. Then to make matters worse, they also got rid of the iconic Builders Club tiers, replacing Builders Club, Turbo Builders Club, and the Outrageous Builders Club with Roblox Premium. And better tiers meant nothing special anymore, as they were all united under the name Premium. They forewent originality for overused corporate lingo, almost as dumb of a change as the 2017 logo change. You idiots! Spotify already has Premium, and is way more iconic. Pick something else! Maybe if they had, I'd have hated the change less. They also got rid of the lifetime options, but that surprised no one. But still, none of that stopped their growth, and when COVID came around, player levels skyrocketed. During those years, we got games like Bad Business, Infectious Smile, The Hood, SCP-3008, and Piggy. Personally, I only ever cared for Infectious Smile and SCP-3008. Speaking of Infectious Smile, legend says crafting is still coming soon to this day. Now then, speaking for myself, I started my Roblox streaming career and also created the infamous Make a Child and Sell It game at the beginning of 2019. We started off strong, I guess you could say, although things didn't stay like that for very long. Originally, both of these things I created as a joke, but they unintentionally became something very real. I started streaming Roblox on YouTube to commemorate getting to 10 subscribers. I didn't expect to get any viewers, let alone subs, but throughout the first few months of 2019, my channel grew to around 300 subs. Then I took a break from streaming until around October of 2019, where streams were fairly frequent until mid-2020 when I decided to quit streaming Roblox for the foreseeable future. This was mostly because I didn't want to become known only for Roblox content, as I detested the direction the platform was heading. At the time, I had around 600 subs, and as you can surely see now, I've not made any growth. In fact, I've only lost subs. Still, I don't really care for that. Streaming is something I've moved on from doing with intent to grow. I only do it now for personal reasons. In any case, Roblox live streaming had a big impact on my life during those years. In addition to that, there was my game. As I mentioned in my Roblox developers video, Make a Child and Sell It was a game I made for a joke from a Kaneko Kitten video. It was specifically a satirical joke at the expense of the state of Roblox tycoons and simulators. The fact that you could just put zero effort into a tycoon or simulator and have it get players just by title alone was the joke, but I didn't expect it to legitimately play out. I talked about it a lot in said video, so I'll just highlight the important parts. The game did not get popular instantly. Yes, Kaneko played it in the first week it was out, but that wasn't enough for it to get major recognition since Kaneko wasn't that popular back then. It didn't start getting tons of visits until way later in the year and through the next. In any case, I did get a warning for the name I used, so afterward I just renamed it to Make a Clone and Sell It, which it stayed as. Anyways, I was making a decent amount of Robux from the one Game Pass I added, as well as from premium players. It was enough that, from 2020 to now, I did not once spend money on Roblox. At this point, I had already decided that Roblox wasn't worth my money, but admittedly I did burn through some of the extra Robux. At the end of 2020, it was obvious that Roblox had no plans to revert any of their controversial changes, especially since they'd been gaining players exponentially. 2021 through 2022 brought no respite to the constant corporatization of Roblox, but did bring a couple solaces in the form of Roblox games and the addition of UGC. Despite being a classic Roblox player, getting to see user-generated content come to Roblox was a welcome sight. I'll admit I was first apprehensive to the thought, but I came around, especially after realizing that user-generated content is honestly the core of Roblox. It was quite ironic actually. Roblox was clearly just doing this to make money, but in doing so they were admitting that their company relied solely on its users. Without players, Roblox would be nothing. But I don't think they truly realize the implications of something like this. They feign prioritizing the user whenever they can, but it's so obvious what they actually care about with the way they handle simple, but revealing things, like their embarrassing UI struggle. It's no secret to anyone that their UI is based only around the idea of exploiting children's attention spans. They monotonize their website to make sure that the only thing drawing eyes are the baby thumbnails leading to the most cash-hungry developers' games. I mean, all you have to do is look at the website for a second to see that this is undisputable. Nevertheless, there were still some good games that came out during these years. Two in particular I really enjoyed, Doors and Regret Evader. Another big one was Evade, but I didn't really play it all that much. Still, its popularity at the time was pretty insane. Aside from games and UGC, this was also the time where they altered their logo once again. It looked like they just updated the font and removed the second square O. Honestly, I thought that it was a slight upgrade, mostly because I despised the previous one so much. The font looked better, yes, but the second O removal was just strange. Why even add it in the first place if they were just gonna get rid of it? Still, no matter what they do, that bland corporate logo will never surpass the pre-2017 ones. Another notable change that came during these years was that Roblox became a publicly tradable stock. I don't really have a whole lot to say on that subject, I'm not exactly a stock expert, but hey, it's a significant thing that happened. Eventually, 2022 came to an end, and in came the next 2 years. The years 2023 through 2024 were in every essence a continuation of the last two. I couldn't really think of anything positive that comes to mind other than the Classic event. It wasn't terrible, but it totally missed the point of what made Classic Roblox good. But I wouldn't expect any better of Roblox. It just feels like they're trying to rewrite history. Oh, they also made UGC completely public, but that isn't all that notable since that was the plan from the beginning anyway. As for me, at this point, I'd begun to wind down my activity on Roblox. I was getting a little too old for the platform, and I could rarely enjoy playing it alone. This isn't to say there weren't good games coming out at the time. Throughout the history of Roblox, there have always been some developers making high-effort, unique games. I've tried my best to highlight the ones I liked throughout this video. For these years, The Waiting Room is a good example. Before my account got deleted, that was pretty much the only game I would play. There was clear care and love put into the game, and it had a fairly decent community. Pressure is also a good one, inspired by Doors of 2022. Speaking of which, Doors itself got a hefty update in 2024, one so big it essentially doubled the playtime of the original. During 2024, I actually started developing my own game, which was intended to be a merging of The Normal City, the predecessor to The Normal Elevator, and natural disaster survival. It would have been a game with various biomes to explore and NPCs to talk to, while you attempt to avoid the onslaught of disasters plaguing the land. It was something I was really looking forward to completing, and I had put in about 2 weeks of work on it before my account got terminated. I wanted to make it something that would have had the charm of a 2014 Roblox game, but modernized with the current technology and such. That way players of today could relive the golden era through my game. But alas, I never got to complete it, and obviously never will. Honestly, Roblox developers have never been the main issue with Roblox. In fact, some, like the ones for previously mentioned games, really put time and effort into their craft. Yes, some are obviously greedy, but that's a given when you have the option to make money. The issue is, as I mentioned in my Roblox developers video, that Roblox encourages the predatory business practices that they conduct. Speaking of Roblox being the issue, before I conclude this retrospective, I want to talk about the metaphorical monster that they've become. Their moderation team has never been one to give praise to, but I feel like throughout the years, it's only gotten infinitely worse. For example, in 2023, my Roblox account had a bio that got me warned for spamming. On the screen now, you can see what the warning was. My bio stated, "I love cats," but with many S's and exclamation points to emphasize that point, and yet that counted as spam, when it was in my own bio, when it wasn't even a full line long. I don't know what the fuck the moderator who flagged me for that was on, but I don't think Roblox moderators should be doing any drugs. It sets a bad example for the kids who play the game. Also, it's not fair for the people who get flagged for the most random harmless things while the mods are on their little power trips. Just search through the r/Roblox ban subreddit for a little bit. It won't be long before you find some equally or even less understandable moderation reports. Then, of course, there is the account termination I got a little less than a month ago. To be honest, I don't really want the account back anymore. Roblox is in such a garbage place right now, and I don't ever see it getting anywhere close to where it was when I was a kid. That would require Roblox to admit their mistakes and revert changes, and anyone who's played Roblox for as long as I have knows they aren't exactly one to own up to their own mistakes. Anyways, I'm not even a kid anymore, so I don't think I'd ever be able to enjoy it anymore. All I wanted to do anymore on the platform was make games that would let the kids of today get a glimpse of what it was like to play Roblox back when I was a kid. But Roblox wouldn't even let me do that, since they wouldn't let me move on from something I made when I was 14. They saw the name Make a Child and Sell It and took those words at face value. I never really expected Roblox's moderation system to work effectively, but this was something else. Firstly, I didn't even get to know why I got banned. I had to make an appeal that, in effect, was just asking to know why I got banned. And of course that appeal was rejected, and I was graced with the most amazing English sentence of, "Game is based on a process of making a child and sell it." Don't know exactly where this person learned English, but I hope they're making some progress on Duolingo, because clearly they failed some classes. I didn't really care to make any follow-up appeals after that. It just showed me how much of a damn Roblox really gives even to their most veteran players. Not a warning, not a temp ban, a termination off the bat, based on a game that no one really played anymore, that had nothing inappropriate involved, that was solely intended as a satirical joke from 6 years ago. And then to not even get the courtesy of a moderation note that tells me why I got banned, and then the follow-up report doesn't know how English sentences are supposed to be formed. What a ride. 14 years, and all I got was this lousy AI-generated moderation report. Just kidding, AI knows how to write English sentences, which makes it all the more sweet that it was a real human. Absolutely delicious. But yeah, as I stated, I'm not really all that distressed over it. Roblox has become a part of my history that I'm no longer proud of. It had its time, but that time is long gone, and since at least 2018 I've viewed Roblox in a negative light. So maybe it was better to let things go before the good times got overshadowed completely by the bad ones. In that way, I'm thankful I got banned. On the other hand, those 2 weeks I spent working on a game I actually wanted to complete are weeks I'm never getting back. And that, among many other things, I'll never forgive Roblox for. They've become such a corporate and unfriendly company. I can't be the only one who sees this, but no one ever seems to talk about it. Maybe they just joined too late to have known that things used to be better. You can say I'm blinded by nostalgia if you want, but I have come to admit they've added some good updates along the way. UGC, R15, the constant studio updates. This is all good and fine. It's just the general feeling and aesthetic of Roblox that it gives off now, and everything that they've removed. It's just so predatory and greedy. They even talk about hoping to use AI on their platform in the future, and the fact that AI art via game thumbnails plagues the top charts, and Roblox just doesn't care. Speaking of top charts, there's quite literally what they call the game section now. It's just charts. Even experiences send it better than that. Clickbait is everywhere, old games are broken, and the ones that aren't are victim to constant exploiters. It's hard to find anything that isn't just slop now. I can't imagine growing up at this time, getting handed an iPad, tapping on the first bright colored Roblox game that I see, and then having that be my childhood. It just sounds so depressing. Anyways, I'm done talking about this. I know this ended up being a pretty long video, but I just wanted to fit in all of my complaints about Roblox over the years in one video. There's probably much more to be said, but I'm done with this platform and I don't want anything more to do with it. Now I'm giving Polytoria a shot. Some Roblox ripoff that looks decent. Probably won't last long, none of them seem to, but my developing ability ought to be used somewhere. Well, that wraps it all up. See ya.